Hey everybody, it's Emily at ARG Schooling, and today I'm going to bring you my somewhat ridiculous March book haul in two parts. So because this was going to always be too much to do in one video, no matter what I wanted to do, I decided to break this in half. March is my birthday month, and so I was always going to buy a lot of books in March just because I always want to treat myself to things and birthday presents and stuff, so I knew it was going to be a thing, but also I forgot to take into account that we had the library book sale in March. Sometimes it's in April, sometimes it's in March. This year happened to be in March, and so a lot of my book haul came from that. I always go a little bit crazy at library book sales, what can I say? Cheap books are my thing. Without further ado, since this is going to be ridiculous, I'm going to just start this book haul and I'll cut it somewhere in the middle. I'll wrap that part and then I'll continue, and we'll have two videos because honestly the thought of trying to edit this all in one go, that's just too much. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and start with the books that I bought at the library book sale because it's a good place to start as any, honestly. So the first thing I want to show you is the thing that I was the most excited about. This was, my husband saw it and handed it to me at the sale, and I was like, I got so excited I couldn't speak for a second. And that is this beautiful Pride and Prejudice BBC production set. So that it comes with a limited edition disc. There's a bonus disc with things on it that I am so excited about. I haven't watched any of it yet, but I'm so excited. This is my favorite adaptation of a book ever. It's the best adaptation of a book that has ever been and ever will be, I imagine, because it is like basically the book on film. They really didn't do it a lot with the material to alter it, and I love it. I love it for that, but also Colin Firth is just... So anyway, I'm really excited. It also came with this little book about the making of the movie, and it's just, I'm so excited about this. I'm so excited that I have it, that it's mine and in my collection. It makes me happy, so. Bonus points to my husband for finding this for me. And then along the same lines as that, I also picked up The Wicked Wit of Jane Austen. And this is like a book of her writings and like quotes from her writings and stuff, and I adore her writing. I love Jane Austen. I'm a fan. So I thought this book would be really cute in my collection. Another thing I was really excited about at the sale was that there was a whole bunch of Philippa Gregory. See, when I first started reading Philippa Gregory, it was back when I wouldn't spend money on books for myself ever. So I read them all at the library and I didn't own any of them. And then I started buying them for myself a couple of years ago because I decided it was time to like own books that were for me too. And so anyway, I never did buy a lot of the older ones that I had already read. I was buying books that I hadn't yet read. So when I saw they had a whole bunch of Philippa Gregory, I got excited. So to add to my collection, I'm just going to run through these really quick. I have The Lady of the Rivers, and this is from the Cousins War series, and it follows Jacquetta, the Duchess of Bedford, and she was the mother of Elizabeth Woodville. I got The Constant Princess, and this is her story of Catherine of Aragon, and I have read this. Actually, I've read this too. I also picked up The Red Queen, and this one follows Margaret Beaufort, and I've already read this one as well. I also picked up The Boleyn Inheritance, and this one is sort of the aftermath of The Other Boleyn Girl, and it follows the three main characters who are Anne of Cleves, Catherine Howard, and Jane Rochford. And this is the story about like his marriages to those first two women, and Jane Rochford was the wife of George Boleyn, and she was in the court and got caught up in a lot of the intrigue with Catherine Howard. So I actually really like this. I think I liked this a little bit better than The Other Boleyn Girl just because the stuff happening in this was so crazy, and there was a lot going on between Anne of Cleves and Catherine Howard, and Catherine Howard is one of those poor souls that I'm just like, she was so wronged. So I enjoy this book a lot, and obviously I've already read it. And then the other two books I got I have not read, and that is The Favored Child and Whiteacre. And these both are books that don't take place during the Tudor period. So they both take place in the 1800s, maybe? Oh no, this one takes place in the 1700s, and I have no idea about Whiteacre. I don't know when that takes place. Oh no, they're both 1700s. So yeah, so these take place like a century after the Tudor series or so, and I don't know anything about them. So I've always wanted to read some of her other stuff, and I just never have. So now I have them, and I will try to get to that sometime. Next up, I picked up The Tiger Rising by Kate DiCamillo, mainly because I've never read this Kate DiCamillo. I've read a lot of her books, but not all of them, and this is one that I haven't gotten to yet, and it's also super short, and I don't know what it's about at all. I just saw Kate DiCamillo and was like, I'm gonna grab that. I picked up Nickel and Dimed on Not Getting By in America by Barbara Ehrenreich? Is that how you say her name? I'm not sure. Anyway, I picked this up mainly because I've heard people mention it quite a bit when I was researching for books for economics for level 12, and when I saw they had it at the sale, I thought, I don't know if it'll fit or not, but I want to read it and see, because I have heard so much hype about this book being one of those like must-reads, and so I really want to read this and see what I think. And this, I believe, is actually about people in like just on the poverty line, maybe, and I don't know. I know it has to do with, yeah, low-wage workers in America, and I was also really excited to see the 5th season sitting out at the library book sale. They get some really good stuff. This is the big library near us, not our town library, and they get some really great books, and they're always in really good condition. Like, this looks brand new. I'm looking at the spine, and there's not even like a crease or anything. I don't think anyone ever read this. So now it's mine, and I hopefully will read it, because this is one of those books that's been on my like hyped, you need to get to this list for a while. So I'm really excited that I now have it, and that I paid less than $1 for it, I think. No, I think I paid $1. So I don't know anything about this book other than N.K. Jemisin is one of those authors that has just been so hyped recently, and I'm dying to read her work. This is fantasy, but I honestly don't know much more than that. So I'm really excited to give this a go. I also got All the Light You Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. This is another one of those books that I just hear people talk about all the time. I honestly don't know more than this is World War II. And honestly, do I need more information than that? Not usually. I also got a copy of The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova. I'm so happy. Again, I read this book years ago before I was letting myself purchase books for myself. And I borrowed it at the library, and I loved it. And ever since, I've been like, you should buy that, because I want to own it. It's one of those books that I do want to come back to again at some point and reread, and I would be more likely to do that if I own it. So this book is about Dracula, and it's such a different take on the story. It's very much a story about books as well, and this Dracula is a historian, and he's collecting books, and the main character is a librarian, and I love it. It's great. This is a great book, and I'm so happy that I now own it. And the last book I have here in this stack is Citadel by Kate Moss, and I almost just passed this up because I've never heard of it, but something made me open and read the synopsis, and it takes place during World War II. And I was like, oh, wait, let me read more. This is a World War II story, and it's just, I don't know more than that at this point, but it's World War II. 3 books I have in this portion of the book haul are books I bought because I had already bought some of the other ones. So I'm realizing I did this out of order, but that's fine. Who cares? It'll work out. So I have 3 Bernard Cornwell books here. These are all in the Saxon series, or the Saxon Tales series, I think. I'm not sure. Anyway, I got these because we are obsessed with the show The Last Kingdom, and prior to watching that show, I had read the first book in the series, as well as like the 4th or 5th book, only because I'm an idiot and I didn't know it was part of a series until I was like halfway through the book. Anyway, I've been a fan of Bernard Cornwell and his writing, and I was a big fan of the series before it was a show, but once they made it into a show on Netflix and I watched it, I was like, I'm hooked. I'm obsessed. It's fabulous. It is such a good show. You should go watch that. If you have Netflix, go check out The Last Kingdom. I don't think it gets anywhere near as much hype as it should. Like, I never hear people talk about it, and it's phenomenal. There are 3 seasons up on Netflix right now. I believe there's going to be a 4th season. I hope there is, because I'm so excited about it. Anyway, earlier in the month I purchased the first 3 books, and I'll show you those when I get to that part of the haul. But these are the next 3 in the series. So I have Sword Song, I have The Death of Kings, and I have The Burning Land. And I believe this is the one I read first, actually. I saw this at the library way back. I don't even know, like 8 years ago or something. It was right after I'd read Agincourt, and I wanted more Bernard Cornwell, and when I saw it, I grabbed it and brought it home, because it doesn't say a dang thing on this book about it being part of a series. It doesn't. Not there. It's not there. So I didn't know. And I think I was like halfway through the book and I kept thinking, why do they keep referencing things and not explaining them? Like, I felt like I was out of the loop, and that's when I decided to do a little research and found out I was reading the 6th book in the series. I have to interject them to make sense with what I just showed you, and that is the first 3 books in the Saxon series. So I have The Last Kingdom, I have The Lords of the North, and I have The Pale Horseman. So the Saxon Tales series follows Uhtred, the Lord of Bebbanburg. He is a Saxon who was kidnapped as a child and brought up as a Dane, which were the Vikings that were living in England at that time, before it was England. And they were living in the north, and so he's been in this world for more of his life than he was in his true world, which was being a Saxon. So he sort of straddles this line between, is he a Saxon or is he a Dane? Does he worship the gods of the Vikings, or does he worship the Christian God? He was like right in the middle of it, and he doesn't really fit into either group. So these are the stories about his life, and the first book begins when he is a child, and you follow him through how he ends up being among the Danes, and it goes through his entire life. And there's still books coming out. Like, there's a book out, I think, this year in the series. And so, yeah, I need to read the rest of them. Those are all of the books in the library haul portion, the library sale haul portion of this book haul. I've started stacking these, and I was gonna try to lift them up, and then I realized how stupid that would be, because I should not. That, my friends, is 20 books. That's a lot, but I'm not done. This is only halfway. So I'm gonna wrap this video, and then I'm gonna start filming the rest of it, and so I'm gonna try to upload these back to back so that you'll get to see both parts if you choose to watch it all the way through. But if not, it'll be broken up for you. It'll be so much easier to edit and watch. So that's the first half of my book haul. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the second half coming right up. Happy reading. Bye.